Hi and welcome back to the channel. Well, for now my JDM collection is here in my soon to be sort of closed off Vinewood garage. So I've managed to bring a few cars here that were in other collections as well, and I think it's nearly full. Anyway, the subject car is a bit further down here because I was asked if I could build the Petronas Honda S2000, which led me to read a wonderful article that I must remember to link below for you, which describes the build of this specific car, how it came to be. A chap called James Lee nearly killed himself in an S2000 street racing in a canyon, I think. Flipped. I think he's lucky to be with us. Realizing he was lucky to be with us, he decided to rebuild his next S2000, because the first one was gone, into a real track weapon, and then to livery it with the Petronas livery like an earlier Super GT Lexus car. And I think he was a fan of Mercedes as well with the Petronas livery. This is what we're going to do today. So he rebuilt a stock car. We're going to do the same. This is how it was in the garage tour, which is I believe a CR version of the car. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong. So we've got to make this now into that car. And of course the great thing is it doesn't need to go into a race day collection necessarily. It would of course really most likely fit a track day selection, if anything. Oh my goodness, what's happened? It's built! Well, I've had to change the tack of the video for two reasons. Number one, the livery is pink, not blue. And I thought, well, if you want it only with the blue livery, it's not fair to make you wait all that time. You could always go now, and thank you for watching. Number two is I spent so long messing with different ways of doing secondary, primary, the splitters and so on. I was up and down through the list. It just took too long, way too much waffle. So I thought, why not let's just quickly and coherently go through the build now. So front bumpers, I'm just going to remove it so you can see what's what. So you can now see the splitter underneath. If you have a look, some of these bumpers extend the nose like that to really to a different shape. So I don't think there's that many to choose from, and tuner bumper gives something with the colour down here, which I really want for the coloured edge. Gives me the canards, gives me an opening. I think it's the closest. The rear bumpers, I've gone for Race Kit 2, and the reason is this is about the right shape of diffuser, and the bumper is cut halfway. Perfect. Oh, under engine, I've done nothing apart from the fact we're on a stage 4. But of course you can do all of the engine under here. I don't tend to bother. I mean, I can't see it, but there is a picture of the engine in the article, so you could color code it a bit if you want. Titanium exhaust, and the reason is it's less shiny than the chrome ones higher up, and I only want a single pipe. There are no headlight covers. For the fenders, there's two options in here. The first one you pick is the front, and that's the side vented fenders at the front. At the back, we've got secondary bolt-on arches. For the grille, it's really what you see through the hole, and I thought the intercooler looked the best. I wasn't very sure exactly what I was seeing on the photos anyway. On the hood, I want two long sets of sort of slotted vents, while these are only a single vent. And I do want these modern shape hood latches, so I still think this is closest. You technically get slightly better vents here, but the vents are black, and I don't think we want black vents, so double vented hood. On the interior, I've not found a way to get a proper roll cage in here at all, so for the dash, I've gone race dash and stripped interior. The car looks sort of stock inside for a lot of it, plus the cage. By going stripped, of course, you get bits of white paint like a stripped car. You get a fire extinguisher. You do get one of these drift handbrakes, but I think it's probably the best. Doors, as far as I can see, it has standard door cards. For the seats, the painted track seat is the closest in style, and whilst there's a few of them, if you take the one that just says painted track seats, you get green harnesses, which are good. And this Apex Basic wheel is really close to the sort of wheel that's fitted to the car. You could go stock lights, or you could also put on the ones that you can get from the car meet, Vinewood, the arena. For livery, backside sponsors is the Petronas livery with a colour change, of course. So that's the one we're going for. We'll talk about livery colouring and stuff in a minute. For mirrors, the carbon racing mirrors are actually perfect. For the plate, go for a blue on white one. I think that's the nearest to the style. You can either have your own name, or of course you could put on the digits that are on the real plate. The respray starts very simple, only one choice of course for the basic colour, which is ice white. But for the secondary, well, it depends what you want to do. Let me just show you what the secondary is changing so you've got an idea. So you can see it's here, around here and so on. I really like this bit being painted. I like the front bit being painted because it makes me think of the thin blue line that's down there on the real car. What I don't like being painted so much is this bit here, because it should actually be black, and this bit here which should be white. So you could just make your secondary into ice white and say, I don't want to paint those bits, and then your car's going to look like this, and nobody's going to blame you. You could say, no, I'd rather, that arch being painted at the back is quite important to me. So you could just go into hot pink. It's not the same colour as the livery, but it's not far off. Or you could do the livery matching trick I've shown you before, taking the code for this pink off the Justin R512 website, which I've now got an extract above for you, and put on the crew colour. And you can see the difference there. It's the same colour. And to me, this works really well with the crew secondary. So I think 3 different ways you could do the secondary paint. The trim, you could go red. I tried red, or Torino red, to get the seat red. Problem is you get so much other stuff red. I think the negatives outweigh the positives, so I've just stayed with a black interior. Accent colour, you may as well just go ice white for a black on white feel, because in fact it is a black on grey LCD display for real. Of course you want a hard top on, and this sport hard top gets you the closest. Wish we could have these in black, but secondary colours the wrong part. Carbon sport would colour the wrong part, and then full carbon again is too much black. So sport hard top. For the splitters, I've already shown you that nearly all of this splitter, right down to these carbon ends, has come on the front bumper. So you could easily go none, and you still have a pretty good look. You might even prefer it. But I find that if we go with performance splitter here, that I just find the little bit sticking out. I know it doesn't quite line up, but it gives me little end parts, which I would really like. So that's why I'm on performance splitter. Spoiler, well, we can't have a white or a painted spoiler. The Extreme Downforce BGW I think is just a bit better than the Driftwing. Sun strips, I wanted the blackest one I could get, which is the carbon sun strip. And suspension, this was my surprise. In my mind, there's all these tuner cars that dump to the floor and the wheels splay out with some crazy negative camber. I just assumed this was one, but it's not. So competition is, well, it's a bit high. For the wheels, there's lots of endo wheels in the game, and some of them look better than others, but there's also the Super 5 in the sport class. Now, I know that the sort of raised alloy bit, the welded on bit inside, is definitely a little bit more prominent, but overall, to have 5 spokes of the right sort of shape and size in the right place, I don't really think you can beat this one. Just to show you, the endos there also are all 6 spoke. It's painted in frost white. I did consider the GTA Plus white here, the off-white pearl, because it gives you a brighter white. But the thing is, it always gives it at the expense of these sort of coloured reflections. So whilst I think it worked on the 911 ST because the spokes were so thin, I'm really not dead sure it carries off here on a broader spoke. So I've just gone frost white, even though I wish I could have ice white. Please give me ice white in GTA 6. And no smoke on the windows. Not that you're seeing many windows anyway. And that completes the build of this car. Of course, I could transfer it back to my other garage, but let's do it the good old-fashioned way and drive it down there. So I'd love to know from the person who asked for this build what you think of it generally, and do you mind that it's in pink? And I suppose it's really the same question for everybody else. Always like to know what you think down below, alternative parts, etc. If you enjoyed the build, please click the like button. That's the thing really, I think I'm right in saying, that helps the channel grow the most. And of course, sub if you like real cars in GTA and you're not subbed, because if you like this build, there's an awful lot more on the channel you will like. And otherwise, and as always, thank you so much for watching.